All right, well, it is 9 a.m. according to my phone, but not according to our clock. So it's 9 a.m. and I will call this meeting of the Board of Directors on April 30th at 9 a.m. to order. We could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance of our people.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for being here this morning. Sarah, can you do roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Alegria?
Present.
Commissioner Montero?
Here.
Commissioner Romero, excused. Commissioner Stolberg?
He's
He's absent? Okay, pardon me. Commissioner Stolberg?
Here.
Commissioner Teeple?
Present.
Commissioner York?
Here.
Chair Kleese?
Here. Okay. I hope you all got the updated agenda, and the revision is that we are now going to go into executive session. The Sunset Empire, we will recess the regular board meeting and go into executive session. The Sunset Empire Transportation District Board of Commissioners will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192.6602F, which allows the board to consider information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection. Representatives of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on or otherwise disclose any of the deliberations or anything said about these subjects during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session and as previously announced. No decisions may be made in executive session. At the end of the executive session, we will return to open session and welcome the audience back to the room. I expect or estimate that will be at about 9:30. So for anybody listening online, that's present public or in the room, I expect by 9:30 we will resume our regular meeting session. Thank you. We will adjourn the regular meeting at this time. Recess the regular meeting at this time. Sorry.
Jason, Matt, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear everyone.
We'll send you a separate invite for the executive session, so we'll get that in just a minute. Thank you.
I will jump off this then.
Yep.
Okay.
It is 10:02. A regular session of the board meeting back to order. And we are on item 4, changes to the agenda. Commissioner Montero.
I move that we make 3 changes to the agenda. We remove item 11B. We remove from 11A consideration of policy B804. And we add item 11E to the agenda, naming interim fund transfer authority.
Are there any objections?
But they don't have numbers. Letters.
Yes, it's stated.
Okay. We have an unpleasant.
Seeing no objections.
That was a motion.
Okay. So could you make a motion? Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, so with that, we are on to agenda item number 5, public comment. Do we have anybody in the public that is wishing to make comment that is online? No, I see no hands. I see no public raising their hands. Any public in the room that would like to make comment? Okay. All right, then we will move on to item number 6, approval of board meeting minutes from the special meeting on March 13th, 2026. Entertain a motion regarding the minutes of March 13th.
I move that we approve the minutes of March 13th.
I'll second. Motion has been made and seconded. Discussion. Are there any corrections or discussion that needs to happen regarding those minutes? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion passes unanimously. Approval of board meeting minutes from the regular meeting of March 26th. Entertain a motion. March 26th, board meeting minutes.
Move approval.
Motion has been made by Commissioner York,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Stolberg. Any discussion? Any corrections? Let's see any highlights online. Anybody? Giving Pamela a second to make sure we don't miss anything. Okay. Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations. That's 2 sets of minutes with 0 corrections. That is a feat in itself. Reports from Chair and Commissioners. Commissioner Stolberg.
Yes, I would like to make a comment or a statement about the minutes in the format that we've adopted. And I really appreciate being able to go through and see things laid out in the format that they are. It takes me quite a bit of time. The only addition or change that I would ask for is maybe italicize the motions where they're mentioned in the body, be referred back to them more quickly, or underline. But I think that we made a really good improvements, and I think that anybody else reading them would be able to follow that along.
I would just say, just for ADA purposes, can we bold them instead of italicize or underline them? Thank you. Commissioner Allegria.
To break into paragraphs when there's really one. It's easier, well, it's easier to remember.
It is.
I know there's paper, I can,
No, I see it in paragraphs. That's
okay, in general.
okay. Thank you, Commissioner Teagle. Nothing to report. Commissioner York. Secretary Treasurer Montero.
Yes, during this last month, I've had occasion to speak with quite a few riders. And riders have asked me questions, have expressed concerns, and I have, and this is specific to dial ride and paratransit, and I have not felt, I haven't had information, and I haven't been knowledgeable enough about what riders are telling me is happening or what's supposed to happen or that kind of thing. I would like to ask that the board at our June or July meeting be given a presentation regarding dial-a-ride and paratransit and how it actually works. What could a rider expect from the start, from a point of asking and wanting to use dial-a-ride or paratransit to actually completing that ride? And what can they expect when they get on the bus? What can they expect about how their ride is going to work? I think all of us being more knowledgeable about that part of it as we go out and about and talk to our riders and etc. we can be more knowledgeable. So I would like to ask for that presentation. Thank you.
Any
I think-
further
And
on your
that's
report?
it.
Vice Chair Alegria.
I'd like to thank Sarah for the great work she's done. It's very high professional quality, and your enthusiasm and understanding is very good. Thank you.
Commissioner York, did you have a question or something additional to add to your report? To your report?
No, I had a follow-up comment to the comments that Commissioner Montero just made.
Okay.
So this is not opposing having a presentation before the process issue. I have a concern about the length of our meetings, and I have a concern if we just accept anything that somebody suggests that would add to our meeting, that there be some process of deciding whether or not that is an addition, or if it could be limited by time, or if there's another approach to getting more information. That we exercise more influence about the content and length of our.
And I will say that, thank you for that comment. One thing that I like to do as a chair is to, prior to the board meeting agenda being put out, I like to ask the board if they have any items that they'd like to add to the agenda, so I can take that into consideration as far as building the agenda and making sure that we can include those things. I have not done that as of yet, because as you have noticed, our agenda has been full with necessary items. And so those are types of things that I have taken into consideration when they come up. And that needs to, hopefully will change with, getting through the budgetary process and getting some of our things refined so that our board meetings in general will be less long. And I will be able to request those things, because often it's more than one person that actually wants something addressed. And so then the more it gets asked for, the higher it rises up to the priorities.
I appreciate that, but one way to manage the time is to not take every suggestion and add it to the agenda.
And it doesn't get necessarily immediately added to the agenda, but that gives me an opportunity to reply and say our agenda for this next meeting is already looking full. It might be on another couple of weeks from now. And there's a dialogue, and each board member knows they have that ability to have a concern and raise it up and say, hey, we'd like this on the agenda. We'd like to discuss it and learn more about it. So that's one of those things that's a board chair responsibility, to kind of weigh and put that agenda together for the good of all of us. So as you know, I have been trying to manage that with sometimes more success than others. Commissioner Alegria.
I just like to add to that. I like Commissioner Montero's suggestion. However, there's a lot on the plate. We're doing annual budget, and it's not a priority at this point. They're going to, whoops, shouldn't have said that word. And okay, but I still feel that way, and that we could do it in either July, certainly not in June, but July or August.
Okay, Commissioner Stolberg.
Just for my information, would having a presentation during a board meeting then open up the opportunity to ask questions of the staff and interact with them in that way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think that's important, because that would be inappropriate outside.
So I'm going to say again, just to clarify what this is. It's a request to put it on the agenda. If it can be done in June or July, it will happen in June or July. If it cannot be fit on the agenda in June or July, it'll happen at a later date. It is a request to have it put on the agenda. Just so you know, that part of my job, that's why you have me, is to try and sort that out. So as my report, I'd like to say that we are still in board chair and commissioner reports. It has been a very busy time between budgets and, trying to have all of us be on the same page. And it's, there's a lot of work that happens behind the scenes, and I appreciate your patience with me. And I hope that we can all grow and get better at this together. And our board and our agendas will get more concise, and we will not have as long meetings, and we will be effective, and we will, do the best work we can for the district together. Moving on to the next item. Committee reports. So we have a board policy committee report. See, we add things so that there we can be more transparent, which then makes our agenda longer in itself. Policy committee report.
The board policy committee met several times. I'm not seeing, well, yes, you should have, yes, the minutes from our meetings are included. Thank you, Sarah. I think you'll see the outcome of our work as in our later agenda item.
Thank you. Executive Director Evaluation Committee report.
We've also met several times, and we approved questions. I dropped the ball in getting some a next step out. So you should have all received an introductory letter about the process yesterday. I believe you should receive today a link to the survey. The survey will be completed. I think it's a week from tomorrow, the 8th. If there are any questions anyone has, or someone comes to you with a question, please don't try and make a stab at answering it. Please either send it on or discuss it with Sam or Marcel, our consultant. Sam has been following all of this process, and particularly for employees who, if they may use their work time to complete the survey, which should take about a half an hour. They may need assistance from their supervisor or from Sam to get access. Some of the operators stuff, it's not an easy thing to do, but they may do that. And so, if anybody has questions, pass them on to Sam, and things will be taken care of. Questions will be answered.
So I noticed from the email what you said, either Sam or Marcel.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And some people may feel more comfortable one way or another. That's just fine. We will get a summary report, and we will, in closed session, actually do the evaluation, because the consultant does not do the evaluation, gathers information and provides that to the board and to David. And we'll be going over that in closed session. And anybody has questions about that, feel free to reach out to that, and I'll reach out to me if it's that kind of process question. I can't actually help anything, but I want to get some answers to what we're doing or why we're doing. So,
Thank you for your. The Northwest Area Commission on Transportation, Commissioner Romero is not here. I know that he attended by phone. So we'll get an update next time. TAC committee. Commissioner Leggett.
You have in your packet the projects that have been approved by the TAC committee. And there's not an order of priority. They felt that all of them were important, and that's why there's no priority list. And the director, I'm sure, will be going over the projects. Oh, we're not doing bylaws for a while.
I would like to recommend that you address the amount of people that are on the bylaws committee, on the TAC committee at the beginning of your next meeting.
Oh, okay.
So you don't have to address your whole bylaws, but you need to address what your membership is, so that you know whether you're good with 5, you're going to stay, or whether you're still looking for 2 more, or whether you're looking for 4 more members. That affects a question of your quorum. Right now, you're at your
5.
Your number is 5. The board policy says 7. So that is your number right now. That is your hard number. But your soft number is 9, which means that can be an issue. So I would like to request that you address that first thing at your next meeting.
Except that the board policy 312 that we will
Yeah.
look at today does adjust that to 5.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
perfect. Thank you. That escaped my mind when
Okay, good
Dan
deal.
was talking. Appreciate that. Okay,
Finished.
excellent. Look at that, moving right into schedule. Financial reports. Okay. First, I'd like to say welcome to our new financial director. Oops,
Can the report be shared on the screen?
did you hear that?
You need to put it up on screen.
Can you? Is
I
that
don't-
possible?
I don't have it.
I can email you the packet.
If you can email it to me,
Yeah.
then I can put it up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Normally, we all have it in front of us, so.
Okay, pardon me, I thought
That's
that
okay.
was plan of action.
No, that's okay. No problem. I like it.
Let me go to the website real quick.
Yeah.
Let me go to the website real quick here.
So while Jason's pulling that up, maybe Executive Director Carr, you can give us an introduction for a new finance officer, because we have not had that yet.
Well, and I will introduce
We'll buy Jason some time.
Jennifer Stanley, and she comes to us from, actually from the area. She's actually originally from that area, and has family in the area. Been with us 3 weeks now,
Little over 4 weeks.
4 weeks. Well, there you go.
Time flies.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Apologize. It's a relatively large packet, so it takes a little bit to load. Oh, full packet.
You want to go to page 49.
Yeah, if I jump, it goes to loading again. So
Yeah.
I just got to get there with it still here. It's an old computer.
And then we're gonna share screen too.
Yes, as soon as I get there.
All of your backseat drivers are done backseat driving.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We're almost
Regarding
there.
the room temp, should we turn on the AC a little bit?
It kind of
It is
does,
comfortable
it-
right now.
Okay,
kind of does its own thing in here
okay,
sometimes.
thank you.
Yeah, the heat just cycle.
So. Okay, so this is being shared online and people online can see it, and here it is.
Thank you. So this is the financial report through April 23rd. You can see the attachment list. These are definitions. And this is the February dashboard. The upper left column, you'll see the available balances as of February 28th, as well as the total funds available, 3.1 million. You'll also see the monthly expenditures regarding AP and payroll for the month of February. And the total expenditures is 204K. You'll also see on the right column ODOT grants. We have 3 grants listed, the total grant, the amount used, and then the amount remaining to the far right for each of those 3 grants.
Can I ask a question about the dashboard there?
Yes.
Jason, can you scroll back? I'd like to ask a question about that. So, on this dashboard, it has the OTIB loan status as of November 1st, 2025. Is there a reason why we don't have the current status of the loan on there? Or is, I just don't understand why we're looking at November of last year and not current? Or is that just an error in not replacing the date in the section?
Page are you on?
On the dashboard?
49.
49.
That is current. I'm not sure when the loan began. If November 1st, 2025 is a reflection of the beginning date of the loan.
We just need to update that to the current.
Just the date in the box. is-
February.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
That's fine.
Appreciate it. Okay.
So here's the P&L for the month of February. In the left column, you'll see the month-to-date actual, $331K in revenue generated. Expenses. You want to scroll down a couple pages.
So this is for what percentage of the fiscal year? Usually we've got the percent on somewhere.
You're
in page what?
On the far right column, we have the year-to-date percentages.
So this is something that the board has gone over previously that obviously you weren't here for yet. That we like to see on this report what that percentage should be at this point. So if at the top there it says year-to-date actual to annual budget, and then there's the percent number that we're aiming for, that it should be when we're at this stage of the year. If that's in there, then we know what numbers are ballpark and which ones aren't. The other thing on this report that we like to see is all the lines so that we can follow them across the lines. So when the next time this report is produced, if we can add the grid lines back in there so that we can follow across the lines a little bit better.
Okay, so I can export these financial reports into Excel. I did generate the report strictly through the accounting system, so I didn't, modify the reports at all.
Sure, understood. And that's just, these are just, board requests so that we can look at the numbers a little bit more easily.
Yeah, and all of those instructions are in some past minutes as to, and I think
Sure, we can find
if you look at the report for 2 or 3 months ago, you'll see the design that we like.
Okay, thank you.
I have a logistics question.
Yeah.
Jennifer, would you want to sit here so you could scroll on your own, or are you okay with me continuing?
So we're, either or is fine with me.
That wouldn't work on that one, Sam, on this.
I
Yeah, let's come on over here, if you
Okay.
don't mind. Here's the mouse, everything works just as is. It's nothing more than just a PDF. Okay?
Okay, great.
And for the board, this report would be for 66% of the year, for the fiscal year.
And if you could give the page numbers that you're on when Amy's discussing it, you can see it.
Okay, any other questions?
And does the board have any questions about this report? I have a question about what is in other income and why we're 1,200% above budgeted amount.
Other income, that's line
Line.
4605.
Correct.
The other income is at $3,894. The year-to-date actual is $30K, and then we see the year-to-date budget is only $1,675. So it looks like this issue has been reoccurring throughout the fiscal year. And that is why we see the $30K year-to-date actual. And so we'll need to consider this when looking at our budget for fiscal year 27, other income. Is it still projected at a lower amount or not?
If you look at the line under resources, the definition, other income is laminating fees, scrap metal sold to Astoria Auto Wrecking, and reimbursements. So it doesn't really tell us reimbursements could be a whole.
Scrap
And
metal
Jennifer?
sold is we sold old buses to the scrap metal
Ah,
yard,
maybe that's.
and there was a number of them.
Uh-huh.
And so I don't know the exact dollar amount, but it's more than a bag of cans. It was like,
Yeah.
it's like an old bus. So they give you, I don't have the dollar number. We'll tell you what, we'll take a look at this category and.
Just want to know
break
we're
it down.
not accidentally putting the wrong thing in there, which is then inflating that number.
I
That
think
is one of
there's a
those things
larger
that-
number because all scrap metal.
Sure, that makes
Scrap metal
sense.
buses.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And
That
then,
makes sense.
there may be some other, we'll look at it.
And
We'll
when
have-
the budget was designed, we
Was it-
didn't think about
No.
getting rid of buses. Yes.
We'll check that.
Jennifer, you're new, and we do not expect you to have that history in your
No.
mind, and that's one of the
No.
reasons your teammates are here, and they're gonna add on that. And you can always say, oh gee, I'll look into that, okay?
Thank
So
you.
don't worry about that.
Perfect, thank you.
February balance sheet. You can see our total assets, approximately 3.1 million. Liabilities, 445K. AR aging, that's accounts receivable. Accounts payable by vendor. You'll notice there's a credit.
So on the AR aging, we're 90 days out for some of our accounts.
For one customer account,
Okay.
and that totals $97.50.
We discussed that yesterday, today for. And it looks like we're gonna find out they went out of business. They're just being,
They're not out of it.
they're just not getting a local there. Conversation.
Check listing regarding checks $5,000 or more.
Mhm.
Again, this is a question from before you, so more directed to Executive Director Carr. Did we take care of, I don't see a bill, check on here to the Astorian. Did we take care of our billing issue with them?
That was done in March. That didn't.
No, that-
February, right,
yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
we're on the February, sorry, thank you. Okay,
Okay, here is our credit card reconciliation for the month of February. You'll notice the vendors on the 2 column, the check descriptions for each credit card expense. And lastly, for the month of February, we have the cash flow projection. So we have the actual beginning cash, and of course, the source of funds and uses of funds should match the P&L. And then the ending result is the cash balance. So that's a good check and balance, checking the P&L with the total sources of revenue and then the total expenditures for February.
thank you.
So.
Okay. Here's
Can
our,
I ask you a question?
yeah,
I just want to remind myself. So the cash projection, that's an Excel spreadsheet.
correct.
And then the other ones you said directly off the system.
That's correct. The other financial reports.
Okay, great.
So they cannot be modified unless they're exported into Excel.
Right. And I think previously what we've been seeing has been exported into Excel.
I'm not sure. I mean, because we're not really asking for the report to be modified. We just
No.
want it to be shown with the lines. And sometimes that's a, save it to PDF printer setting. So
Right.
just something to look into. I'm sure you all can figure that out.
Right.
Okay, we will. Thank you. Here's our dashboard for April. As of April 23rd, cash on hand, 2.9 million funds available. We have the monthly expenditures for April, accounts payable and payroll that was processed within the month. Total expenditures, 224K. Again, we have the ODOT grants listed. The 3 grants, the total amounts awarded for each grant, the amount used, and the remaining amount. Here's the March profit and loss.
Total
Total
of that reflects for 75% of the fiscal year.
Yes, 3 quarters. For the month of March, total revenue, $47,190.
And I think you have the same question here on line.
Right.
Yeah.
When we get that question answered, then it'll be answered across the board.
We hope.
Okay.
Here's our expenses for the month of March. Total expenses, $226,775 for the month of March. Now, if you look at our year-to-date actual for the first 3 quarters of the fiscal year, you'll see the total expenses at approximately 3.1 million. The year-to-date budget reflects 3.6 million. And then you can see the variance, a little less than 500K underspent in expenses.
Hold on, what page? Could you get 4?
It's right up there.
This is page 64.
Page 64.
So I thought I heard you say 3.8 million. What I'm looking at for that page is total expenses year to date, 3.184 million. And year to date budget, 3.679. I'm seeing, yeah, okay. I thought I was hearing something. Didn't I? Okay. Somebody's got sample.
Okay.
All right.
Here is the March balance sheet. Total assets, 2.9 million. Liabilities, 432K. Accounts receivable aging report. We have 2 customers and the accounts receivable aging report. You'll notice Tillamook County's only at the 30 days. All the other customer is accruing these fees. Accounts payable, aging by vendor. Here's the checklisting for checks issued for $5,000 or more.
That's what we should see, check.
So I think we may have paid them
March.
per invoice, so I'll have to take them.
No, we paid them fully.
But I mean, they gave us like multiple invoices, so we said one check.
we wrote one check.
Okay.
I signed it.
What was it? You
That
said
was the last time I signed checks.
maybe on April.
Oh, then it's gonna be April.
Yeah.
Yeah, since dated the April report. Yeah, but it's the check listing from 3/1 to 3/31. Yeah.
There is the credit card reconciliation for the month of March. Again, you'll see the vendors listed in the 2 column and then the descriptions for each credit card purchase. And lastly, the cash flow projection for March. We have the cash ending balance for February carried over to the beginning cash balance for March. Then we have the profit and loss total revenue for the month of March, $47,190. Again, the profit and loss expenditures, $226,775. And then we get the ending cash balance of 1.8 million.
Any question for Finance Director? Thank you very much for
Thank you.
getting those reports out to us with all of you catching us up. I would entertain a motion regarding the financials.
I move that we accept the financial report.
It's been made by Commissioner Montero and seconded by Commissioner York. Any discussion? Glad to get us caught up. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Executive Assistant there, Shelley, did you have a question?
No, I
Okay. Want to make sure I didn't skip over you if you did. Item 10A, RVHT grant application update. Executive Director Carr.
Thank you. It's kind of moot on one point because we did not get the grant. That was oversubscribed by over 200%. And while our grant was received and had a good rating, and we were not given the grant. The questions were on whether or not we were meeting veterans' needs and whether we had looked at the population and done some a deep dive into the demographics and things, and that's brought up by Commissioner Matt and Matthew. So we met with Carl Wiley. He's a county veteran service officer at Clatsop Community Action. Jason and I went and stopped by to see him. We met with him and one of his staff members. We kind of talked about, there's 4,000 veterans in the community. The demand for services for them are growing continuously. The vehicle that they have, the veterans has a vehicle. It's not equipped for paratransit. It's just can give rides. When we asked them about what kind of volume they see for people requesting rides and stuff, and they were only about, I wanted to say, a couple a week requests. And we talked about that a little bit. They're not offering those services. People aren't asking. So if there's 50 rides a year that they're trying to arrange, that's at the low end because we were anticipating 200 to 400 rides. that's about where we would expect to see that. At this point, we have other opportunities to pursue additional grants. We don't have the bandwidth to pursue these kind of grants at this particular moment. We think that there's enough demand for us to continue the pursuit of this. Working with Carl and his team, we think we can get more information and pursue that further. And we want to document some of it. We want to get some numbers, interview some veterans, and Jason is going to be, he attends a coffee every month. Is it every quarter, I think?
Yeah.
Something like that. And then he's going to do one of his own where he's sponsored. He's either sponsoring it or doing it with Sam and Carl. And we're going to try to do more outreach specifically to the veterans group. We think that when we look at not only the veterans group, but other groups that we serve, whether it's a micro transit project, there's some other things we can do with our service, but we might be able to reach out to a specific group. But at the same time, we're going to make that available for the general public. So we haven't stopped our pursuit of this. We've just put it on pause. We're going to kind of get things collected. We do have the conversation we had with Carl Wiley was wonderful, and we agreed to be participating with outreach with him and talking with his team and with his actually meeting with their clients at their meeting and be able to get more information and continue to pursue this project. But I think that it was a good meeting, and I think this pursuit of this type of project still has merit. It's just we're going to do that a little bit later.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
I have a comment. I do believe we have veterans who are already using our services. And where you're saying he indicates about 2 times a week, I think what's important to look at is also where are they going? Because I think the veterans who need services within the county are probably already using our services.
There's quite a number of them, and we need to collect that data and assess that data. The things we specifically talked about where they want to travel is Portland or Longview or areas that we currently don't serve. And so they were talking about going to a lot of the services that aren't here. They have to go to Portland to get them.
So
And we don't currently have mechanisms.
So I want to make a comment about that. And that is, while I highly value our veterans, and I think that we need to provide them with service. And it seems to me it is, if we're looking at adding, I want to add more in our county as opposed to traveling out of our county. We need to make more services available to more people in the county as opposed to a subset needing to travel out of the county. So I want us to look at, in a very measured fashion, how we look at adding services.
Thank you. I think that anytime we would be expanding services in general, that it is the whole public outreach process and process, especially the TAC that need to be involved with. Commissioner Legrand.
Just to add that you can take the point to theoretical. Not only do you get to the Union Station, but bus 8, I think it is, goes directly to federal, veterans hospital. So I think maybe we should promote that since we have the services here.
And we get a portion of the fare when it's scheduled through SETD.
And you can get there in the morning and return at night, so you don't have to stay overnight when you have the appointments.
Any further questions regarding grant and the update that we just received? Seeing none. Moving on to item 11. New business, revisions to board policy B312. Policy committee.
Okay, so, the policy committee, the very first policy that we decided needed to be, reviewed, is B 312, which is, all about the committees, because we were looking at committees. We adopted, a new format for policies, and you see this reflected in these policies that we're presenting. So that on the policy, you're going to be able to see the history of when did the policy initially get adopted, and then the reviews. So we've gone from the general committee information that would apply to all of the committees, and then we've specified the standing committees, which would be budget, PAC, board policy, and executive director evaluation committee and finance. And we've indicated how many people would be on each committee, what the term of office for lay members would be, and the frequency of meeting. That's a sort of a standard to guide each one of those committees. We've given the BOC permission to establish as many ad hoc committees as we deem necessary. And then we've also added in there the acknowledgement that the executive director has the authority to create committees and work groups for operations. That this policy is only about board activities as opposed to what's happening in terms of operations of the district. So we've separated that out. So we, as the board policy committee, are recommending approval of this revised board policy B312. Oh, the other thing that we updated the form that anyone who wants to apply to any of our committees would complete. So it's the same form. We don't have to design a new form every single time we have openings, etc. And the form was designed to also have information that we can keep for our internal use on applications.
I would entertain a motion regarding board policy D312.
I would move that we accept and enact, adopt the policy as described. Draft.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Teeple and seconded by Commissioner York. Discussion. Commissioner Legria.
So under finance, on page 76, not sure why you have this as a committee. This means you have your finance manager and you have discussion with all the board, and you only meet once a year. So I don't understand what the purpose of it is.
Well, I think that it came up in a board meeting previously that the board wanted to have a finance committee, and so that the policy committee created it is based on a board request. So we go over finance policies, make sure that we're keeping things up to date, making sure we're, complying with what we need to as a board. We're watching things. We know what our reports say. Do we need changes in our reports? The finance committee could work on things like that.
So that's a lot of work. So to do that, and I guess, and also whether how that goes what are the responsibilities of the finance officer department?
It's not to do with the finance officer. It's the board's oversight in finances.
Okay, on page 78, are you able to meet the requirements of the committee member job description? Well, if they're not, are they applying? it doesn't seem like a very necessary question. I want you to evaluate yourself before, it's just,
I think it's a good standard question to have to make sure that the person has actually reviewed and knows what it is that is going to be asked of them. It's frequently a question that's asked in committees when you're applying for committees.
And we have this, we've been using this question already.
well, that doesn't mean it's good. It just means good. Okay, onward and upward here. Okay, and then, okay, you have on page 79, I don't know, what do you think a public transportation system should provide? I don't know, I guess I think that's self-evident, but maybe it's not. And then, that's it.
Commissioner Stolberg?
I'm on this committee that helped develop these, and one of the things that we were looking for is to get a general background of what person's understanding is of what they're volunteering for, and to get a feel for whether or not they would be an appropriate candidate over somebody else that might have more understanding when we do the interview process. And this, having this in the application, kind of primes that conversation ahead of time, so that as we move through with appointments in the board, we can save some time and focus on what we need to be. And it kind of just gives us an overall understanding of what the person is bringing to the table, and it gives them an understanding of what we expect in our positions. And so we designed this in a way to streamline that. That's one of those questions.
Okay.
Might seem self-evident, but it might also be important in expediency.
So in terms of just when you're filling this, are you like, is this all the space that they're allowed?
Oh, no,
Not really.
they expand.
Okay.
This is a fillable
Online.
form
Yeah.
Okay.
that they could do if they wish to online.
Okay. Thank you.
Commissioner York?
So this is kind of cross-committee stuff here, but under 2D, the Executive Director Evaluation Committee. So
Page.
am I on the?
Yeah, page
Okay.
76, page 76.
So just,
Yeah.
Yep.
We had a sort of passing discussion in this committee about whether we should also be doing an annual board evaluation, a board self-evaluation. And so I didn't think about it until I was looking at it just now. But if that was something that folks wanted to do, that would be reasonable to have this committee also do a self-evaluation. That is a common practice, a best practice for nonprofits to do regular self-evaluations. So I just thought I would throw that out. If it's interesting, we might not want to do it now, but do it later. So I wanted to get that on the table, since there had been discussion at our other committee.
Right. So these are standing committees that are put here. So I do value board self-evaluation, but I think that would come about when the board decides to do it and would have an ad hoc committee if they needed it. So it's not a standing committee, because that's
So
what
I think that could be handled in multiple ways. Commissioner Legria, did you want to speak to the same topic?
Oh, I mean the topic that she just struck in?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Okay. That's what I thought. So I will just address it. I think that SDAO also has some regular self-evaluation and best practices evaluations that they encourage boards to do, and a template and process for that as well. That helps us with our insurance rates. So it is a regular thing that we get asked through that to do a self-evaluation that then reduces our insurance rates. I think that it is something that we could handle either as an ad hoc or as an ask for an additional work for this committee. But like you said, I think it's something that we could add on later, that this is our standing workload for these committees. And if we want to ask more of them, we could always ask more of them at the time that it is needed. Does that sound good? Commissioner Legria?
So, work session, where does that fall?
That's not a committee thing.
Okay, where does it fall
But we can call work sessions as a board whenever we need them.
though? It hasn't been called.
Yes, we have had them.
Okay, so
So
that would shorten meetings too.
depends upon the item, because nothing, you can't take a vote and you can't handle
No, I
things in a
understand.
work session. So, okay, but yes. Okay, any further discussion on board policy 312? And the attachment? All those in favor of adopting them as presented signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion passes unanimously.
And I would just like to add at the end of this, thank you so much to Sarah has been taking wonderful notes. She's bounced back and forth with all of the revisions that we've made, and she's been invaluable in this process.
Okay, 11C. 5310, 5311 grant application.
It's okay for them.
We are on page B3.
So we completed the applications and then attached. The images are completed. The bad news is we expect to have a reduction in federal funds of 13% in the next biennium. And that's reflected in our grant application. In the back meeting, I went through each section and I explained the detail of each of the projects and each of the funding to try to give a sense of what this money was doing. And it took us about an hour to go through these. It's a very, very lengthy application. And rather than, for the sake of time, I would just ask if any of you have had a chance, if you've all had a chance to look it over, do you have any specific questions? Or would you like me just to kind of go through here kind of super quickly, but there's just, these applications are lengthy and there's just a lot here.
I would like to say, do we have any questions about the application? What they're for? Any information that's provided in there? Anybody, any questions, comments? Things they noticed?
I'd say the highlight is in 5310, which is mobility and paratransit, you will see a number of projects that we've added there that are usually not considered mobility projects, but they're actually allowable under that. And that's because in our federal budget adjustment, we were cut $365,000 from 5311. And we received an additional $165,000 in 5310. You can't spend 5310 money in 5311 and vice versa. So what we did was the additional funds we got in mobility, we used that for projects that will augment 5311. So it's an unusual way to spend that money, but because we had that additional funds, it would help compensate for the money we lost in the other one. It will position us better and position us in the next biennium to get all the projects we need to do, and at the same time spend the money in appropriate buckets.
So, if we're cutting to the chase kind of thing, not going through talking about what the grant applications, I really appreciate, I don't know that we ever at the board level seen the grant applications printed out, and I really appreciate that. I think that's really good, but I want to make sure that I'm looking at the right thing in terms of the synopsis, and that would be page 172, 173, and 174. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. That synthesizes just at the money, what the project is, and the budget, grant amount, and this is the list that the TAC approve or is recommended. Am I correct? Emma?
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, good deal.
So I would say that the board did used to get the whole application.
Oh, really?
Which is why we are getting the whole application, because the applications are important for us to look
Yeah.
at so that we know what what our requirements are. It fell out of practice for a while. And
I
now we are
see.
reviewing the applications as required.
Yes.
So I would add that the applications due 15 days. And so we had to have it done in advance of that in order to present it here.
Yeah.
But we only had a very small window to do that. The ironic thing is they will get it on the 15th. They will have it and then we'll get it back again. If they have any corrections or suggestions or anything they want to, ODOT wants to add or see back from this, they'll make those recommendations to us. The grant application is due in July, the middle of July. So we had to scramble in order to have this done for this meeting in advance of the July final due date. So if this year is a little unusual in that ODOT has moved up a lot of their grants. I got a grant application the other day. It was 2 days. And even bothered to look at it. The grant process here is just a little unusual. Your windows are narrow. And I think that the next grant cycle will be better prepared. And this is our completed version here. They'll make some revisions. If there's nothing substantial, then or material, we'll submit this as it is. If there's anything that changes dramatically, we'll bring this back. You take.
So before we move forward with any motion from the board, there's a couple of things that are material that I think need to be changed. One of them that isn't, I lost it because I just spoke the 173. I think it's on. The material thing is that your authorized representative, you have listed as me as the board chair. And in these grant applications, it's usually the executive director that the board is authorizing to sign these. So although I appreciate you wanting to give me this responsibility, I am not intimately involved with how the grant is being administered, and therefore it is the executive director that should be the authorized signer and authorized representative. So that would be,
We'll make that change.
it's on many of them. It's on each one of them. So that would need that's a universal change that needs to happen.
Okay.
The other one that is not material, but I think is important, is on 101. Is describe how this activity benefits seniors and individuals with disabilities. And I think this is a very limiting statement that is in here. And we don't want to only serve seniors and individuals with disabilities residing in supporting care facilities. So wherever they reside is where we are wanting to provide services in supporting them. So we're not only that.
I think there was more here before. It may have been one of those cut and paste things. So we will definitely expand upon that and ensure that.
One other question regarding the format in the forms. I noticed that some of the applications you have checked that where is it? It's usually towards the end of the form, and it says it's the open to the public at all times. So most of these, because we are providing public service, they just want us to check and make sure that that box should or should not be checked on all of the applications. Because our services are open to the public at all times.
You just need to find that.
It's right before select the type of service that will be supported by this award, select all that apply. So the ones that are in that are open to the general public at all times. We have checked on some of them and not checked on others. Deviated fixed route, excluding commuter and intercity routes, demand response, and ADA complementary paratransit.
That's
That is,
page 115.
it's on all of the
Okay,
grids.
but I'll, yeah.
So one of them is on 94.
Okay,
Oh, and open to the general public isn't checked on one.
Right. And so multiple times it's not checked on them. And I believe that should be checked on all of them. So I just want to make sure that we check on them.
and maybe my interpretation was at all times being 24/7.
No, it just means when we're providing services, they are available to the general
Okay,
public.
that was a
So just let's make sure
misinterpretation.
we check on that because we
Okay.
don't want to give the impression that we're
Mhm.
limiting in any of these because that could disqualify us from some of the monies.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody have anything else? Commissioner Legria.
Just two comments, and one is, if the executive director perhaps could talk on a couple of days' notice is contradictory to actually getting the grant. There's no way to get it. And two, you had mentioned that due to time constraints that you can't do grants, and just an open suggestion, and if the board can help out in rearranging not schedules, but activities and duties and whatever other word you want to put. Because without the money from the grants, everything else is worthless.
So to what Executive Director Carr was saying, that ODOT has changed the timeline.
Yeah.
When they changed the timeline this year for applying for the grants, they did not take into consideration the public meetings process that has to take place on this end. They are hearing it from all sides that was a big oopsie. And so hopefully this rough period of instituting this change this year will get fixed from all sides. So
That's
it's
good.
being.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
any other comments directly about either the 5310 or the 5311 grant applications in the packet?
I have one last comment.
Yes,
Uh,
have to say.
Jennifer did a lot of work on this, probably the lion's share of the work on this, and I just compliment her on the work that she did and allowing us to get this done on time. And so, talking about getting help, she was just totally invaluable and did a wonderful job. Thank you for
We can designate who's Jim. But we got
Whatever
it,
you-
yeah.
Any other questions or comments? I would entertain a motion. It could be about the entire packet of 5310 and 5311 grants, or you can go through them individually and make a motion. It's up to the motion maker.
I move that we approve the submission of 5310, 5311 grants and authorize the executive director to sign.
Motion has been made. For a second.
Second,
Motion was made by Commissioner Montero and seconded by Commissioner Stolberg. Discussion. Commissioner Legria.
Wondering if we could add to the motion the corrections, changes to the, like changes, taking, removing urine. Or the public, we have to go through a whole kit and caboodle to do that. So to put that in the motion.
So amend the motion. So
I will amend the motion. Thank you. Thank you. I will amend the motion with the to say the 5310, 5311 grants as amended during this meeting.
So I think that doesn't that have to be in the motion?
I just did. I just did. That's my
that amendment.
change to my amendment.
Motion has been amended and the second is amenable. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Chair votes aye, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, some light news of the day. Oh, no, wait. Yes, light news of the day. On my agenda in front of me. I don't know how many of you read your Special Districts Association newsletters when they arrive in your email boxes. But there is a National Special Districts Day being proposed. Get to the page in the packet. 75. There. The National Special Districts Association has been working hard across federal to pass federal legislation recognizing special districts as a important form of local government. During COVID, it came to light that special districts were not officially considered a local government, eligible for receipt of federal funds when distributed during the COVID pandemic. That gap since then has been the National Special Districts Association from since then has been hard at work to try and get that rectified and pass legislation recognizing recognizing special districts as an important form of local government. There is legislation that is sitting in a committee right now that hopefully will move from there to the floor to be voted on soon to recognize national special districts. So the same type of thing wouldn't happen going forward. In that light, we are trying to bring the word of special districts and what we do and how important we are to communities out to the community. So the National Special Districts Association has created the first ever National Special Districts Day, which will be celebrated on May 6th. And special districts nationwide are invited to adopt resolutions supporting special districts and National Special Districts Association. And there's a resolution in your packet that has been adapted for Sunset Empire Transportation District, and entertain a motion regarding it and any discussion that anybody wants to have. Commissioner York.
I move we approve, adopt resolution 2026-03 recognizing National Special District Day, particularly calling out our district.
A second motion has been made by Commissioner York and seconded by Commissioner Alegria to adopt resolution 2603 recognizing the National Special Districts Day and calling out Sunset Empire Transportation District. Any further discussion?
I don't know that this needs, what I'm going to suggest needs another motion or whatever, but once we approve this, I would also want to have this promulgated to every city council and the county commission in our county.
I think that we could agree upon that. I don't think we need a motion regarding that. Any further discussion?
Press release. Yes. Something. I would add a press release to it as well.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion passes unanimously. Somebody make a press release.
I'm happy to do that.
Please.
I write them all the time. Okay.
We appreciate that. We'll send you a draft and we'll.
I'm also happy to make sure it gets met with all of the city councils, etc.
Commissioner Stolberg, do you need anything?
No, I'm sorry. I have a cardiac injury, so my eyes just started.
Okay, just wanted to check.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. All right. Item 11E, which is we need to authorize somebody in Sarah's place for interim fund transfers while we get our policy worked out. Montero.
What do you page of this book? Well, we're on page 177 with my handwriting on it. I move that we designate the responsibility to move funds on a temporary basis until further notice to our executive director and the board secretary treasurer. Second.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Montero, seconded by Commissioner Teeple. Discussion, Commissioner York.
I would recommend withdrawing that and having someone else make that,
Fine with me.
just given the position. I'm not nothing about the idea.
So do they want to move it?
I would like to make a motion, which I rarely do, so we know this is a special occasion. I'd like to move to designate on an interim basis, mobility manager Jason Jones and secretary treasurer Montero to be our interim money funds transfer people.
Second.
Motion has been made. Chair Plezek, seconded Commissioner York. Discussion. Us to maintain some separation of duties and allows us to fill these roles on an interim basis until the policy committee can work out our policy going forward. Please. This is the board meeting.
So what that means is that we would have to fill out extra paperwork because Jason is not already designated as a signer with the banks.
Mm-hmm. So we can have just the board person be the interim person. Or I was thinking an employee and board member. Yeah.
And you have to have the minutes presented to the bank if you add another signer.
Right. This is just for funds transfers temporarily until we get our policy in place. Commissioner York.
So because Commissioner Montero is already that we effectively would have to, but and so the process for Jason would take a little bit longer, but it wouldn't mean that we were without that
Right.
temporary.
Okay.
Okay.
And this is because we lose our executive assistant, who is the assigned person tomorrow. And then we need to get our policy in place so that we have everything outlined so that we don't end up in this position again. So this is a very temporary situation.
So do you need the board approval of the minutes before submitting to the bank?
Yeah,
Yes.
they have to be approved.
So
So that would be a special meeting or?
No.
No?
No, that would mean that
between now and
until that happens for Jason, I would be the only one.
and then potentially at the next have a policy in place, so then we can have our backup with, whatever the policy ends up being, then we have our emergency backup, and then we have our interim person is relieved unless there's an emergency, and when we have a policy that says who and how that takes place going forward. So we don't end up in this position again. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Commissioner Solar.
I would like to roll call vote.
Okay. Roll call.
Go ahead.
Roll call.
Commissioner Alegria,
Yes.
Commissioner Montero,
Yes.
Commissioner Stolberg,
Yes.
Commissioner Teeple,
Yes.
Commissioner York,
Yes.
Chair Plezek.
Yes. Okay. Motion passes. Thank you. That covers us on an interim basis. I appreciate that. And item 12, correspondence. Was there any correspondence? I would just say, in my mind, I wrote a long card and letter to thank our executive assistants for her valuable service over the last few months, and we are going to miss her a lot. So that was a mental letter I wrote. So I mentioned that in correspondence. Okay, executive director reports.
Okay, we're very busy. Just hit some of the highlights. I've been meeting with the community a lot on, again, I'm gonna compliment Deborah G because we've been reaching out to ODOT, county, Columbia Memorial Hospital on their building infrastructure. And as they're building their infrastructure out, we're asking them to consider bus infrastructure. And so we are actively engaged with these agencies. At the Bond Street one is, the ODOT one down here is a good example. They're changing the merge path. We have a bus stop there. So we're talking about the impacts of that bus stop. So they're actively involved with the community, and we're looking to try to enhance our infrastructure through their projects. So it's been really good, productive talk. We don't have anything concrete yet, but everything's in the process. And as we get projects or impacts, we will bring that to you and share that with you. We've been also working with like the county and preparedness. I met with a task force on safety last night with the county. I've been met with the preparedness one the day before that. We're really doing a lot of outreach in terms of we're participating in these activities on an ongoing basis and offering our services and understanding what the needs are in the community. Grant applications were submitted. Community College, Clatsop Community College was set for the final draft agreement, gone through the attorney again. All the revisions were made and sent to Community College. Also, there was the ILA that I was or this MOU that's now an ILA, and we worked through with the city, and now it's gone through legal review, incorporating all the adjustments that we made. Is at the city of Astoria for review.
Adjustments to what?
There was an MOU I proposed a few months ago about having an emergency agreement with the city of Astoria. And we're hoping to use that with other agencies throughout the county as we make agreements to provide services in terms of an emergency or a natural disaster or catastrophic things. And so that agreement, they sent us the template. We reviewed it here. I got your input, sent it back to legal, and now it's at the city of Astoria with the final revisions. We should be getting that back from them. There's a delay. I was asked by the board to do an ODOT forensic audit and the RLS, and to confirm all those activities were completed. I've not been able to do that yet. That has kind of taken a backseat to the grant applications and the budget. Once we kind of get through all of that, there needs to be some additional work done in terms of previous budgets and some of our finance stuff. We're going to look at that, and under that kind of reflective look, we'll be looking at this as well. So we're going to try to look at the bigger body of work, and at the same time, we'll come back to you with detail on these specifics. Attended a bunch of meetings, request. I recall a request about having the WADA come and do a presentation for us. I spoke to the executive director of NWADA, and she was agreed to do a presentation for us. I believe it's the June 28th. I'll have to confirm that date, but she said she'd be happy to come and share it with us. And so we'll have to, as we talked about earlier, as we do our agenda setting, we'll see if that won't be enough time for that. She can come and do like a 10, 15-minute presentation and share the activities that we work with NWADA because we're part of that with 3 or 4 other agencies, and we work collectively and our website's done. So she'll bring that, and then she's also part of another goal pack, which is Columbia. I don't know the exact name of the acronym. Yeah, and so she'll share a little bit of insight into that. We're doing a strategic plan review. I have that scheduled. We're going to have a meeting here. I'll have a meeting tomorrow with Mark, and we're going to plan how we're going to follow up on that. There's an article in the paper I put on the wall. I think there's some positive news. But we did pay the Astorian. So they gave us a nice news hour. You know, something, I don't know if it's connected.
No, it
but-
wasn't connected.
Well, you never know. We run a big check. And met with Veterans Coordinator. There was a question about parking. And I didn't know where to put it, so I just put it in here. I did a survey. There's 30 parking spaces that are untimed over here. It's a great opportunity to park. The problem with that is because it's a great opportunity to park, a lot of people park. So the question was really related to how much parking is available in our lot. Our lot is full pretty much most of the time. The parking that's on kind of on this end and that side is for the point, but it's available on a as available basis. I'm not really sure the genesis of the conversation, but I would put out there if there's a need for us to secure parking or reserve parking, it would need more discussion because staff that's here are assigned parking. We sell permits over here. So any changes we might need to make, we just be thoughtful about it and deliver it. I did talk to the owner of the bowling alley, and they have spaces down in that little area there that he's considering letting us use.
Wait. I'm not sure where this conversation on the parking came from.
Somebody mentioned it that they were looking for additional parking during our meetings.
The conversation that occurred at one of the meetings was that board members, when we come to meetings here, we're either parking on the street and exceeding the 2-hour parking limit and endangering ourselves for getting a ticket, or we're parking in the lot, the SETD owned lot, but we may, because of the parking that's there, we may be parking in reserved spaces. And we did not want to endanger ourselves to be towed if we're parking in a reserved space or the other kind of the non-public spaces. And I was thinking about that actually as I drove in this morning, that we need to be sure that our commissioners and our committee members who come to do business here don't become in danger of parking tickets or getting their cars towed. So a very easy way might be, because the monitoring of that lot is done by SETD staff. A very easy way would be if those of us who drive let you know the car and and our license plate, so that you got a list of that information and you know not to ticket or have those cars towed when they're here on business.
And so, I will just throw on top of that to me, it's our responsibility to park responsibly. And if we're parking in a spot that says reserved, that you're not the person that it's reserved for, probably shouldn't be parking there. If we need to find a different spot, we need to find a different spot. Redoing our parking because of board needs is not something that we assigned to have done. So appreciate it. But let's not go down that road that we are not renting out spaces and then renting spaces from somebody else for board meetings. We would need to figure, if it becomes an ongoing issue for board members, we would need to address that. But we didn't assign, please don't, we want to make sure that I think that there's other discussion that could happen with monitoring parking spaces and making sure that the ones that are supposed to be evolving and time limited for point use are available for that, and that we don't have other businesses here in the area that are taking advantage of the fact that maybe we don't monitor it that closely and they park there all day, which I've seen happen. That's a different issue, but that's an operations issue, not a board issue. So thank you.
Okay. Again, I would mention that the federal budget cuts that I discussed earlier, the 13% reduction in next biennium, in the proposed federal budget, for FY 27, which would impact the next biennium, includes a 23% cut in transit funding. So we are pairing ourselves in our current budget and our next biennium budget in a way that we're now positioning ourselves for another additional 23% cut. And then the property tax collection, it's included in our budget, and also things that we were talking to the county assessor about. They're anticipating reductions in property tax collection between 10 and 15%.
Can you
I
tell
think
us more about that? Because I've not heard that anywhere.
That's the number they gave us
I think you're,
when we asked them.
I think potentially you're conflating timber tax revenue and property tax revenue.
Yeah.
Because timber taxes are consistently expected to go down year over year, 15%.
I'll clarify that when I asked for, when we consulted with them to try to get a number to project in our budget, that's what they were telling us. So maybe they
Understood the question wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I think, so the
Yeah.
timber
Tax revenue.
timber down,
Yes.
which is a lesser percent, but
It-
the
it
property tax is
pretty much.
And they can give us a total amount that they expect us to get next year. They've done it for the other special district that I sit on.
I asked them for that. They said they couldn't do that. I'll ask them again. I'll follow up. That's good information. And then the last thing was the STIF task force. So there was a task force and committee in the last legislative session. I want to say it was HB 2008 or something. Anyway, that task force was being assembled to address the STIF, which is the state portion of our funding. Unfortunately, that task force got into committee and never got out of committee at the time the session was adjourned. It's my understanding that the governor is still pursuing this and they're looking at getting members. I talked to Brian Bertulli in Tillamook. He has been participating in this all along, and he's keeping me informed. So there is still a chance it could be resurrected in some form or fashion, but as of right now, did not come out of committee.
Any discussion?
There's a bullet, APD video review of protocol. What's that?
The police department came by and they just looked at our video and for an incident that occurred
Oh,
in our lobby. And I just thought we should consider how we make that kind of information available to them. And I want to cooperate with, we certainly want to do that. They're helping us. They're on our property, but I wanted to just talk a little bit about, if a law enforcement agency comes in and they want our video, what's our protocol? And I think we should have one. I think we should have they should make a formal request. It should come to at least the executive director level. We should consider that request and before providing them information. I think the caveat there would be if it's a life or death situation, we might just grant them immediate access. Because if there's a kidnapping or some crazy stuff like that, we would be able to do that. In this case, it was an altercation in the lobby. There was a physical altercation, and they wanted a copy of the video.
so theoretically, if there was a physical altercation in our lobby, would we not have called the police to come and address it?
Typically, but in this case, well,
Okay.
it's a little bit different.
I'm just going to say that is an operational issue. That is not a board issue. I think that as far as a policy is concerned, the only thing that I would caution is that the policy needs to be in alignment with state law. So it depends upon what agency the law enforcement is from, how the cooperation is given. So that is an operational thing, not a board policy.
All right, thank you.
I have a couple questions about the executive director's report if nobody else has any. Anyone else? You skipped over a bullet item that I would love to know a little bit more about. Sure. There's the Clatsop County Community Development Department Sunset Beach Development Project submitted comments. Who submitted comments on whose behalf and where are those comments?
They were doing, improving the seating on a restaurant. In Sunset Beach, there's a restaurant adding seating to their, restaurant. There was a comment about impact on parking. It turns out their development is located within their property and is not going to affect their parking. I just said that keep in mind that our bus goes through that area and we go through that circular area in the park. I did not submit a comment for or against it. I just pointed out the fact that we operate in that area.
I would just say that any time a public comment is made on behalf of Sunset and Fair Transportation District, the board should receive a copy of it so that we are aware of that.
It was one of those things too that they gave me. I got notice on one day and they wanted it by the end of business. For the same. So I was in the copy.
Requests for comments generated by social media should be considered as to their importance and priority, as well as anytime that we make a statement on behalf of Sunset and Fair Transportation District, the board should be informed of what that statement is, what those comments were. So we are out there in the public and need to know what we're saying as a district. Comments for the executive director. Okay. Team reports.
Hello, hi. Besides my board report that I submitted, the only other things I wanted to add was David mentioned that I attended the Clatsop County Preparedness Planning workshop. OEM, Oregon Emergency Management, was there. All agencies of the county and cities throughout Clatsop County were there, and it was eye-opening and a great place. I'm glad that we also took Rick, our shop maintenance supervisor, and so being involved in emergency planning, because as you know, public transit can be subject to whatever level that might be, whether it's countywide or even just one building. As David mentioned, we're doing MOUs for maybe just points of care has to be emergency evacuated, or half the county has to be, our public transit buses can be utilized in that sense. So being part of that process and getting to talk to people face to face, and then also getting to say at the end that we need to probably update contact information and across the board. And so they appreciated so we figure out somehow how to do that. And then doing, the middle of the night. Emergencies don't happen between 8 and 5 Monday through Friday. So and how does that phone tree happen countywide? And whether it's just locally managed or federally managed, how does that happen? So, and then getting to work with ODOT about the lane drop. And I say lane drop because it won't be a lane merge after Sumi Hall. And so, yes, we do have a bus stop there right in front of right before eastbound, the Doughboy. And we want to keep that as best as we can because it's safe. It's easy access for drivers in and out of the bus. And most importantly, our older adults, people with disability, because they're having to work the lift. And so that gets our bus out of the lane. And especially they're going to change it from currently it's 2 lanes. It will be 1 through lane. And so we want to do as best as we can to keep all of our traffic and our system safe. So they are welcome to, they have welcomed us to keep it a trial. And if we run into issues and stay in communication to come about I believe he's a avid rider, and so all permits go through the city, and so he initiated it. He wanted the ODOT to please reach out to us That's a meeting that David and I had a couple of months ago, is just face to face with the city and making those relationships. And so that was another reason is, yeah. And then the other one I want to say is I'm working on summer routes. We just generally add time because the traffic increase. And so if the board would like, I can bring those to the May, June for you're looking at. There won't be really any major changes, just adding time to allow buses, especially the 101 and the Route 20 with the heaviest traffic in that part of the county. So allowing that driver to stay on time is our biggest. If you have any questions?
I just have one comment. That the new building at Owens Adair is completed and the courtyard is open, and that will be a drop-off place, a pickup and drop-off place for transportation. So you might want to contact them about how the bus should go through there.
And that was another project. When we met with the city, I asked them how that was going to work because they changed the lane traffic there also. And I said that we have curb to curb that goes up there, and that parking lot is now like half the size.
Yeah.
And so we'll need to go
It's changed into it's changed into a circular courtyard. So
yeah.
the bus will go in one direction, come out the other, but it's not designated on the ground yet. So
Right. Yeah.
you want to contact them.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Thank you for reminding.
It just, we've had an emergency plan, the strategic plans for a number of years. And I'm not saying to do it now, you have enough on your plate, but maybe to start compiling, you have a little box that says emergency policies you're doing or MOUs, so that you have a head start, so to speak, on an emergency plan.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Chief Operating Officer Geisler? All right, thank you. Next is Finance Officer, the other Jennifer Steno. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add other than your finance report and what's in this?
Not at this time, but thank you for asking.
Okay. Any questions? All right. Jason Jones, you're up, Mobility Manager.
Yeah, right. Thank you very much for everything you guys do for the district and the people who are using service. I just wanted to, if there's any questions on my report, please go ahead and ask them. But I would like to publicly say thank you to James Ferry. Just recently, I released last week the last of a 3-part series on kind of a dive into his life and what it's like to use transit, learn transit, reaching out and connecting to his community, being totally blind. It's just one of many type of disabilities that people have to deal with, but hopefully those out there that were able to watch it might have been encouraged that anything's possible. Just reach out and ask.
Any questions, Commissioner?
I want to make a comment. I've just seen the first installment, and it really made me think about the how of it, and especially the how of figuring it out and not being afraid to figure it out. So I really thought it was helpful for the general public to be able to think, oh, you know what, I know somebody that might, that might be an issue. And so I appreciated the work.
I mentioned this already this morning to Jason, but I watched all 3 episodes of that, and I really appreciate the escalating production value in those things, and they all turned out to be really 3 very valuable episodes. I enjoyed seeing those on the YouTube channel.
Excellent, thank you. For those of you that don't know, Jason adds some really great stuff to the SETD YouTube channel. It's worth a watch. Anything else for Jason? HR Director Adair.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Few updates. So the district is moving to focus on CDL classes due to the fact that we are not getting enough applicants for CDL drivers. I just want you to know that we have an open class. We're still getting more applicants, so we'll start to train maybe 3 or 4 of them. So we have, pipeline for drivers in the future. Second, about
Can I ask about that?
Absolutely.
So you're training them here. We're doing it internally.
Correct.
Have we reached out at all to Clatsop Community College about doing something jointly with them?
actually I did. I sent them an email.
Okay.
Haven't heard back. I can
Oh,
tell you
really?
that. Yes,
Okay.
and I'm also working with other hiring agencies, just trying to see if we have anyone who's interested. And we also have a banner in the Warrenton location, and the new banner will be up here in this location sometime soon.
And school districts, do their bus drivers have to be CDL?
Yeah.
So maybe there's another opportunity.
Yes. Of course.
Just having worked in community colleges for years and years and dealing with stuff, it'd be helpful for you to know, if you didn't already know, that if the college partnered with it, they would have some certain rules about it, but they would collect funding from the state for that time, and that is an advantage for them. So generally, if they know that, they have to certify the faculty member and stuff, but it's not an onerous process for that kind of thing. If they do money, we all when our partners get money independently of us, always make some really tight partners.
Commissioner Legre.
There were some issues. The college did give us CDL, and what had happened was that they would get their CDL license, and then they would go to another transit agency. So I don't know how you prevent that from happening. Whether you would say something, suggestion. I don't know if I agree with it, but I'll give it out that you will be, are they paying for the license?
So partial. Okay, just for the permit. And to your point, I actually, Jennifer and I had a conversation with the union. Because it's one of the things that we want to prevent in the future. We don't want to train them and then they leave. So Bruce and I will reconnect one more time because he also needed to get some information for us. Based on that, we will try to train them and ask them to stay at least a year or 2 with us. So we're just trying to figure out the time frame we can ask or put in the contracts before we spend all that money on training them and they end up leaving for a benefit.
What would say you would pay, if Sunset is paying for part of their license, that they could, and they're paying part of the license, whether if they stay for a year, then they're reimbursed for their part that they pay. I don't know, because it's, as you know, a problem.
Yeah, just because it's under union, we want to make sure that we consult them before we do anything. So I addressed all of that, Commissioner Alegria. It's just a matter of time before Bruce responds back to me. And based on that, we'll try to rewrite the contracts. As of now, we have 1 person in training, but I would like to open a class like 3, 4, 6.
Be careful. This is internal policy, not board policy, and we can encourage certain things, but they make the decision.
No, I'm not asking.
And I would also say, make sure that you're in touch with Tillamook Community College because they do offer these classes there.
Copy that. Yes, we'll do.
And they do a good job promoting them. So.
Okay.
And I believe there's a job for in Washington. Okay.
Any other questions for HR Director Adair? Thank you for changing the information. It's a little, I can understand it better this way when it put in numbers like that. Anybody else? Okay. Admin and marketing reports.
Well, just beyond what's submitted, I just want to say thank you to all of you for everything. I've really enjoyed working with all of you. I've learned a lot, and just sincerely thank you. Also, lunch has been ordered and will be here about noon.
Any questions, comments for our admin and marketing? Commissioner York.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions for Sarah? This is her last report for us. Okay, I'll say it again. We're going to miss her. She's made a really big impact in the short time that she's been here. Any other comments before we adjourn this meeting? Don't anybody leave. We have a budget committee meeting that starts at 1 p.m. You are not allowed to leave the area. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Chair votes aye. We are adjourned. 11:54.